Hello, so today we are going to make a shish kebab grill. We're going to utilize the sheet metal model tool and the beam tool. So we're going to start with the top view. We're going to make a sketch. We're going to do it on our top plane. We're going to select a center point rectangle. We're going to make sure we're hovering over our point of origin of 0 and 0, highlight, drag that out. Then we are going to dimension tool. We're going to make this rectangle, let's go with 24 inches long. We're going to zoom out so we can see the whole thing again, and we're going to go 18 inches wide. We're going to go green check. And now we're going to go to our sheet metal tool, which is up here at kind of the top right. We're going to click on that. We're going to go to thicken, and our faces or regions to thicken. We're going to click on our area there. We are going to make it 0.125 for the thickness. We're going to make our bend radius 1/4 inch. So that's 0.25. So just to give you a heads up or to point it out, the 0.125, that's about a 10 gauge sheet of steel. We're going to come over here and I'm going to click on the isometric corner there so that it flips it around to the side. You could also look at it, I guess, from the side like that, but I like to be able to see the kind of the sheet and what we're working with. And we're going to make sure that this arrow is pointing up. If it weren't, we would go and click this the opposite direction. And this basically tells whether we're thickening this or extruding it on the top or the bottom of the plane. So as I said, we're going to have our thickness at 0.125, which is essentially 10 gauge steel. And we're going to have our bend radius at 0.25. And we're going to make sure that our arrow is pointing up. And then we're going to go with a green check. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to come back up here again to our sheet metal model. But we're going to use this drop down arrow here. And we are going to do a flange. And so then we're going to go and edge or side faces to flange, and we are going to select these corners. We're going to flip around. And if you look, I'm grabbing the top part of this top line, that top edge there. Around, go over here. Okay, and then we're going to make this, we're going to make it, let's go with 6 inches. We're going to go 6, entry blind. We're going to go inner alignment. I think we're going to leave everything else. So unless yours looks different than mine there, go ahead and leave everything else the way that it defaults to, okay? And so when you go, if we're going to look at it from a top edge here, it should be coming together at a point like that. And if you look down here at the bottom, it should come together right there like that. So we're going to go green check. And now we come up here and we look at it from the top. We now have a little box. And I'm going to get rid of my planes right now. I don't need those planes, so I'm going to hit the P key, which gets rid of my planes for me. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to start looking at the legs. So we're going to go to the, I think we'll go to the left side, and we're going to work on it from there. So we're going to come over here, and we're going to flip it around, and we're going to look at it from the left side. I'm going to zoom out, move it up like that. And I am going to go sketch, and I'm going to click on the side of my box here. So that's just going to make my sketch plane there. And I'm going to go to my line tool, and I'm going to come up and to right, it's not going to let me do that right now. So we're just going to come here, and I'm going to draw a line that's down like that. See, I'm going to have it so it's yellow and blue, broken kind of dotted line there. And I'm going to do another one. I'm actually going to light up the top here, and do another one that comes like that. I'm going to light up the bottom there, hit that bottom point, come there, and I've got that broken yellow line that comes across. That way they are the exact same. I'm going to get, whoops, escape the line. I'm going to get the line tool again, and then I'm going to go from this line to this line, making sure that once again I got that broken blue yellow line so it is perfectly horizontal. And I'm going to escape the line tool again. Normally you can just hit the escape key and it'll take you out of the tool, but being that I'm doing this recording, it interferes with it. So now I'm going to take this constraint or coincident tool. I'm going to set some constraints. I'm going to click on the top of one of my lines and I'm going to click to that. So it's going to bring it down here. And then I am going to click on that and here. So it's going to bring it out like that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm clicking on my new line and then I'm clicking on the outer edge of this outer side on the right or the left, or I guess that's the front and the back technically. Okay, so now I got to set some dimensions. So I'm going to hit D or select my dimension tool and I'm going to click on the side here and I'm going to make these legs 28 inches, 28, enter. And we got to tell this how high we want this cross piece to go. And so I'm going to click on that piece, click on the bottom point, and we're going to set this, I don't know, let's make it 6 inches up. So we'll go 6, enter. Boom, green check. Okay, so if we look up close, it's going to look like that now, where the points aren't quite touching. Okay. Now we're going to come up to our beam tool to get there. If you haven't used it recently, you're probably just going to have this plus sign there. You're going to use this drop down menu and we're going to select beam tool. And I'm going to click on the pieces that I want, but actually I'm going to come up here. I've got to make sure I have it set correctly. Right now I have it timber because the last project I did in here was a shed. So we're going to switch this to ISO, and then we're going to go with square hollow sections, and we're going to go 25 by 25. And so 25 by 25 is going to be the closest that we can come to 1 inch. Given the preloaded beams. So if you were to look at it from the bottom, you'll see that it's centered over that line. And so we want to pull it in both directions. So we're going to grab that arrow and pull it in. We're going to grab this one and pull it in that way. And so we're going to go at this point, green check. And if we look around at the side, now we have 1 leg. Okay, we need 2 legs though, so we're going to come back up here. We got to turn our sketch back on, so we're going to click on the eyeball, and we're going to go back to our beam tool. And now see, it should pre-default to the square hollow that we just used. And so we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to pull that in and flip it around here. We're going to pull it in that way too. Green check. And then we need 1 more beam, and we're going to put this one right here. But we've got, and let's see, we're going to go in. I'm going to look at it from the left. Centers on that. You know what? I'm going to pull it up because I'm going to say that I want it 6 inches clearance from the bottom. Though, you know, really that's a preference thing. But we're going to go and select trim. I'm going to collapse that so it's all on my screen. I'm going to select trim. And instead of the faces, which it defaults to, we're going to go parts to trim to. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to click on this one, and I'm going to click on this one. We're going to click on the 2 legs. And so what that does is that trims this cross piece to those parts. So it only goes that far. Now we're going to do green check. And if we look at this, we now have legs with a cross support that goes in between them. And so next thing I'm going to do, just because it kind of clutters things up for you, I am going to get rid of the, I'm going to get rid of my or not get rid of it, but hide my sketch too. So I'm going to click hide. Okay, perfect. Now, looking at it, we're going to look at it from, actually, just because I like to do it from the front here, we're going to look at it from the front. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a mirror. So we're going to make these legs show up on the other side as well. So we're going to click mirror, and we are going to, actually I'm going to swing it around and look at it from the side. Entities to mirror, we're going to select all of these leg pieces that we just did. And then we're going to come down here and click on mirror plane. And we're going to come up here and we're going to select the right plane. And that's going to mirror it over to the other side. And whoop, we're going to click new. I don't know why it was showing add, but we don't want to remove. We were not going to remove anything, but it was defaulting there. So we have to, and you could see it was red. It was saying that basically that was that it was a problem the way it was, something wouldn't work. And so we're doing new, green check. And so now if you look at it, we have legs on both sides. Okay, so we said that this is going to be a shish kebab grill. So it's going to have notches across the top for us to set the shish kebabs in. So to do that, it's super simple. We're going to take a front view and we're going to go sketch. We're going to click on that. And so now we have a drawing that we're doing on the face of it. And we're going to go corner rectangle. And we're going to, and if it's still defaulted to center rectangle, you're just going to use that drop down there. And so we're going to attach it to that top edge, and we're just going to drag us a rectangle. And then we're going to go to our dimension tool, and we are going to make it, we're going to go 0.75. And I want to be able to put in like 3/4 inch shish kebab skewers. So we're going to go just a little oversized from that. So we're going to say 0.3 wide. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is use the linear pattern tool. And we're just going to select all 4 edges of this little rectangle that we just did. Sorry about that. This phone just won't stop ringing. So now we're going to go and set our spacing. And I'm going to make, so we're going to double click on that. So our spacing, I'm going to make it 1.5 inches. 0.5, enter. All right. Now we need to tell it how many we want to go across. And so that's this 3x thing, 3 times. We're going to click on that. And this is a little bit of trial and error. I'm going to try it with 15 first, see what that does. Oh man, am I good or what? That looks like that's about right. You'll see it doesn't show each and every one of them until we click off of it, but you can see the first several of them and then the last one there. And so that looks like it's pretty evenly spaced. So we're going to go green check. Okay, so now we have them there, but they're still not perfect. So we're going to use a construction line. So we're going to go line, and we're going to select this construction tool over here. And if you have a construction line or any construction entity, it's something that does not show up in your final drawing. It's just used as a placeholder essentially. So I'm going to attach it to the end of our first little rectangle there and to this edge of the front sheet there. And I'm going to need to escape that line. You could just hit the escape key normally, but I can't do that when I'm using this recording software. So I have to right click and do escape tool. So I'm going to do the same thing over here, give myself a construction line. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my equals tool, which is either up here in your constraint menu, or you can just hit the E key on the keyboard, and I'm going to click my construction line on this side and click my construction line there. And now all of a sudden, all of my slots turn black, and that's because they know where they are relative to the drawing, because I have centered them by making 2 equal lines on each side of my linear pattern. So now we're going to go green check, and we have our sketch with all of these notches. So next thing I'm going to do is up here to extrude, and I'm going to make sure that it is saying remove. And I could go and click on each of these individually as we go, And that's just a lot of extra work. So we're going to go over here in the menu on the left, and we're just going to click Sketch 3. Okay. The next thing is your merge scope. Luckily, it has already defaulted to part 1, but otherwise you would click merge scope, and then you would select the part you want it to merge with. And so in this case, it's part 1, which is the box here. But we need to tell it how far to go. And instead of giving it a specific depth, we're just going to say through all. Okay, and it turned white there, so we're good. Otherwise, we'd have to reverse the direction. But in this case, we don't, so we're good. We're going to go green check. And now you can see we have notches there along the top that we could lay our shish kebabs in. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we are going to do another sketch. Let's go to the front view. We're going to do another sketch. We're going to go here, sketch. And we are going to do this one. Actually, I'm going to do it on the front of one of these legs. So we're going to go like that. And then we're going to do a line. And I'm going to go across like so. And hit escape. Whoops. See, I said if I did that, I have an issue with the recording. Escape line. Now we're going to come up to our constraint things again. We're going to go coincident. And we're going to click on our endpoint. And then we're going to click on this. And so we're lighting up that edge. And we're going to click there. And we're going to do the same thing on this other side. We're going to light that up. And then we need to go to our dimension tool. And we're going to say how far we want it above the bottom. So we're going to click on that line. Click on the bottom of our leg. And we're going to make that 6 inches so that it matches those side supports that we have. Now we're going to go green check. We're going to go back to our beam tool. And this time we're going to go with an angle iron. And we're going to go, how do I want to do this here? ISO, angles. And we're going to go 25 by 3 millimeter. Green check. Whoops. I was an idiot. Click back on there. I need to select the line that we're going to draw on. So we're going to go with this. Now, if we look here at which direction the angle's going, we need to rotate that, I think 180 degrees. So let's try that 180. Perfect. So that flips it up like that. And then I want to look at it from the front, and it's sitting on top of the line, which is exactly where I want it. And look at it from the left side, and it's flush there. So we're good. I don't need to pull it any direction on there. So we're going to go on this green check. And so now if we look at it from the inside in there, we have the angle sitting there like that. Okay, now we're going to go and we are going to mirror that because we want it on both sides. So I'm going to select mirror tool. I'm going to click the entity to mirror, which is this angle. I'm going to click mirror plane. I'm going to come back up here, and I'm going to use the front plane. So I click on that, and now I have a mirrored piece on the back side. So we're good to go there. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some kind of side shelf type things on this. So we're going to go to a, how do I want to do this? Yeah, we're going to go to a top view. I'm going to go and right click on the top part, and I'm going to click hide part. And so we're going to do a sketch, and I'm going to kind of zoom in here, and I'm going to click on the top of one of my legs and zoom back out. And I'm going to take my line tool, and I'm going to, let's get to zoom. So, all right. I'm going to draw a shape like that, making sure I use that, have it so it's that yellow blue kind of dotted line to mean that it is going straight. And I'm going to go hover over the end point, and so it lights it up, and then bring it down so that I've got that broken yellow line between it, meaning that they are even with each other. And I'm going to get out of my line tool. Then I'm going to come up here and use my coincident tool, and I'm going to make a constraint. I'm going to click on my first line, and then I'm going to click on this outside edge of that bottom. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on any of these outside edges. Like I could click on that outside edge there. Really doesn't matter. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select my endpoint, and I'm going to click on one of the outside edges on this side, and see it's going to bring it there. It's going to be hovering off right where, if this came out to a perfect 90 degree, those points would be meeting. And then I'm going to go to my dimension tool, and I'm going to make this, I don't know, let's make it 12 inches. So we're going to go 12, enter, boom. So we've got that there. Okay, now I am going to, is there anything else I want to do here? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to put one more thing on here. I'm going to go once again to my line tool, and I'm going to draw a line like that. Once again, blue and yellow to make sure that it is perfectly straight. I'm going to escape from my line there. Then I'm going to go with a coincident tool. I'm going to make sure I'm on a perfectly top view. I got a little sideways there. I'm going to click on my endpoint, and then I'm going to click on this line right there. So that constrains it that way. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this side, click on this endpoint and constrain it to there. And so now it's perfectly, that length. And then I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click on this edge. So now I've got a line that's right there, basically going along the edge of that piece of tube there. So we're going to go green check. I want to take a look at this kind of from an isometric point like that. It's going to make it a little bit easier. So we're going to go to our beam tool. And the first one I'm going to do is this bar that's on the inside. So I'm going to click on this. But actually, first, I'm going to change this back to square hollow sections. And once again, we're going to go with that 25 by 25 by 2 millimeter. And we're going to click on this. And I'm going to pull it down. And I'm going to pull it in. So it's going in between there. It's basically support. We're going to go green check. Beautiful. Now I'm going to turn my sketch back on, because when you finish using it, it automatically turns itself off. And we're going to go back to the beam tool. And I'm going to click here. I'm going to click here. I'm going to click here. And then I'm going to click joints. Under joints, I'm going to put miter all. And I'm going to pull it in, and I'm going to pull it down like that. And we're going to go with a green check. And so now, if you look at this from the top, we've got these mitered. All right. And now I want it on both sides, so we're going to use the mirror tool. So I'm going to click mirror. I'm going to, for entities to mirror, we're going to go with this piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece. I'm going to select mirror plane, come back up here, and we're going to go with the right plane. And so now it is mirrored on both sides. I have that on both sides. So we're going to go green check. So now I've got that. Now I'm going to go to a top view. Okay, and I am going to put these, let's see, how am I going to do this? We're going to go with sketch, and I'm going to put we're going to go on the face of this angle iron right there, and I'm going to put a line in there. And I'm going to go from the inside of that roll. I'm not going to go all the way to this edge here. I'm just going to go from the inside of that roll. Straight down to And I'm going to make sure it's that blue and yellow broken line so it's straight. I'm going to hit escape. Whoops. Right click, escape line. I forget, I try and use the shortcuts, but when I'm recording, I have to do it differently. And then we're going to go to our linear pattern, and we're going to select this. Why is it not working here? Ah, there we go. And move this up there. All right. So I'm going to space these 3 inches apart. And I'm going to go, let's make this, how many? I'm going to try 6 and see how that looks. That needs to be more than that. Let's go, no, more than that. Let's see, 8. Nope, too many. So it's going to be 7. So we're going to go with 7, and then click out here. And so now I need to figure out the spacing here. And so we are going to get the calculator out here, and I'm going to go 22.281 minus 21. And the reason I'm going with 21 is because I'm going to have 7 spaces of 3 inches. So minus 21 is 1.281. And so divide that by 2, 0.6405. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to go, we got our dimension tool out still. We're going to go and go from here to that line there. And we're going to make that 0.6405. Enter. So 0.641 is what that's going to default to. Okay, so now we're going to go green check. And we're going to go back to our beam tool. And this time we're going to go with lumber. So we're going to come up here and we're going to find our timber, profile, lumber, and we're going to go with a 1x3. Okay, and we're going to just click each of these. Okay, I'm going to look at this kind of from an isometric view here so we can see what we're doing. And we need to grab this arrow here and pull everything up. And then we need to grab this arrow here and pull everything over. So I'm going to look at it from the top again. And I didn't get my math quite right, but that's okay. We're going to go back and we're going to fix that then. Because I didn't account for a 1/4 of an inch there. So, but that's okay. So right now we're going to go green check. And so this is a good thing to figure out how to fix things. So it should be a 1/4 of an inch off, I believe. And so if it's a 1/4 of an inch off, how wide are these? 1x3. Let's see. Go from there like that. 2.5 inches off. So it's a 1/2 inch off. So we're going to need to add a 1/4 of an inch to that dimension we put here. So we're going to go back to our sketch 6, double click on it, and we're just going to go right here, double click on this, and we could go and add to that plus 0.5, enter, and we're going to go green check. And now we got the problem on the, oh, I said 0.5, I meant to say 0.25. So we're going to go back here. And so I'll just come in here, make that 2.5. So I meant to do in the beginning. Enter, green check, and we've got what I want it to have there. It's nice and centered. Okay, so next one we're going to come back up here, do a sketch again. And we're going to do this on top of our side pieces here. And we are going to, now we're going to put some lumber in there. And so we are going to go and do a line again. And we are going to start here at the end point. And we're going to go to the other end point here. Boom. And we're going to go get out of our line tool. And then we are going to do a linear pattern. And being that I'm going it wants to go the opposite way, we're going to have to make this a negative number. So we're going to go -3. And I'm going to make it go, we got 1, 2, 3. We're going to go one more, make this 4 of them. And we're going to go, whoops. Yep. Did that work? Yeah, it did. All right. Oops, I opened up another sketch. Did I? No. What it did there. All right, so we're going to go back up to our beam tool. And we are going to select that line. We're going to select this line. We're going to select this line. We're going to select this line. And now let's look at it from an isometric viewpoint. We're going to grab this arrow and pull them over this way. We're going to grab this arrow and pull them up so they're sitting on top of that bar. And we are going to go, we're going to make sure it's still 1x3. We're going to go green check. And what sketch is on there? Sketch 5 is still on. I'm going to turn hide that just because it's kind of annoying to see it there. And we're going to go and look at it. Let's look at it from a top view. And we're going to use our mirror tool again. And entities to mirror, we're going to mirror these 4 slats there. And we're going to select mirror plane. We're going to come up here and we're going to select the right plane. And it will default them over to the other side. Make sure we're still on new, green check. So now if we look at this here, we've got our wood slats on the bottom there. We've got our wood slats on the sides. And now let's come down here to parts. And we're going to find the part that should be before, actually should be our first part, part 1. And where it right now is invisible, you can see it's kind of gray where the other titles are black. We're going to click this show part, little eyeball there. And when you look at that, you will see that we now have our completed grill. Though, you know what? I think we're going to add one more piece. I want to add one more piece. I want to have a little bar that goes across the front. So we're actually going to go right click on part 1 again. We're going to say hide part 1 again. We're going to look at it from the top. We're going to go back to sketch. And we could go on the top of any one of these top pieces. So, you know, I'm just going to draw on the top of that one. And we are going to go and do a line. We're just going to go, I'm going to do it out here like that, making sure that it is perfectly horizontal. Get out of your line tool. We're going to go coincident. And we're going to take the end point. We're going to go on that edge. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. End point, this edge. And then we're going to go and click on our bar itself and make sure that we're on the very outer edge like that. And we're going to go green check. And so if we go and we look at it from an isometric viewpoint, you'll see it's running right there. So we're going to go with our beam tool. We're going to go back to our ISO, square hollow sections, 25 by 2 millimeter. And we're going to click on that piece. We're going to pull it in. We're going to pull it down. Come on. Oops. There we go. We're going to pull it down. And we're going to go green check. And so now we have that bar going across there. We're going to want to mirror it. So we're going to click mirror. We're going to click on that bar. We're going to go mirror plane, come up here and select the front plane. There it is. So now it is on the front, green check. And now we're going to come back down here to our parts, the bottom left, show part, and we have our shish kebab grill complete. I won't make you draw the skewers in, but we could do that. The skewers are just going to rest on these little slots going across, and you can put your coals in the bottom. You know, probably if we're doing this, we could put some vents on the sides or in the bottom so we get a little airflow in there. But I think it's okay for now the way we have it. So if you have any questions, leave comments or send me a message, and I will do my best to help you. Thanks for watching.